Hello, everyone. It's Dines with Dara on the Joy Slot podcast, brought to you by IrishSportsDaily.com. I'm Greg Flammang, and that is Dara Mabrey. Notre Dame is so back. Notre Dame women's basketball is so back. I don't think it's ever been more back. It was a great performance for the ladies in the first two rounds, and they are on to the Sweet 16 against TCU in Seek. That's not what people say. Notre Dame's women's basketball is off to the Sweet 16 in search of vengeance against the TCU Horned Frogs, who they lost to way back when in November in the Cayman Islands, in the Cayman Islands Classic. Notre Dame entered the fourth quarter in that game with I think it was 11-point lead. Lost the fourth quarter by 19 points, 31-12 to fall 76-68, which was at the time their first loss of the season. They subsequently went on to lose again to Utah. And then they went on their 19-game winning streak, and then they lost 3 of the last 5. So they're looking to avenge that loss. Haley Van Lith, who has been in college for a very long time, under her third team, I think. She's kind of been a star for them. They've got I think it's a 33-3 record. So they're flying high coming into this game, and it's going to be a good matchup. So we're going to talk about that, talk about the way the ladies played in the first two rounds, kind of the atmosphere that went along with that, and see what can happen in the Sweet 16. Move on to the Elite 8. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. If you like what you hear, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. So whatever it is, we go live or release a video. Links to our podcast are in the description below. As always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing, founded by Notre Dame alum Ga Wang. You've seen ESQ and all your favorite Notre Dame players and coaches with over a decade of making the best custom clothing available. ESQ will help you look and feel your best in 2025, from a perfect fitting suit or sport coat, shirt, or bomber jacket, or the perfect tuxedo for wedding season. Check out Ga's amazing work at esqclothing.com. Book an appointment to upgrade your wardrobe today. Mention ISD and get 10% off your entire purchase. That's esqclothing.com. Dara, main takeaways from what you saw over the first two rounds from the ladies from their first games.
I thought that it was clear that they worked on some things over the break. I thought that their defense was great, and it led to their offense. Even when they had to slow down and pull it out, they had really good execution on both ends of the floor. That is tactically and on the X's and O's, but outside of that, I think that they look great. They look confident. And I think that whatever they did over the past 2 weeks after the ACC tournament was really important. And they were intentional, and you can tell they look really good. They feel good. They're moving the ball well. They're playing defense. They're looking after one another. They're in help. They're in the right spots. And they look like the Notre Dame team that they are. And that's really important. And I'm excited for this matchup on Saturday. I think it's exciting. There's some history there with that matchup, given they handed them one of the losses earlier on in the year. But I'm confident for them, and they look fantastic from top to bottom.
Yeah. Sonia Citron, amongst those who looked really good. It was 24 points in the opener, 16 points in the second round game. So she's averaging 20 points a game, shooting 50% from 3, 7 of 14 in those two games. Shot 9 of 16 in the first game, 6 of 12 in the second game, 6 rebounds against Michigan. They basically jumped on Michigan right away. They went up 32-12 in the first quarter. And at that point, the game's over. You don't really have to – you're not going to come back against Notre Dame like that in that arena. The way that it was hopping and the way that it was jumping. Kind of talk about that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Did that come through over, all the way in Europe? Did that kind of come through on your screen? Just kind of how lit it was inside the arena there.
Definitely. Sonia, great. And I think it's really important that she's aggressively shooting the ball now, and you can tell. Like, I think she shot like some step back 3, and I was like, amazing. That's exactly what you need her doing, especially in March, going to her early and having her take shots early in the game. That atmosphere was unbelievable. It was bittersweet. Obviously, I wish I could be there. I've played in that atmosphere before, but seeing it just created such a disadvantage for Michigan. they like the crowd was just like on their neck the whole game from start to finish. And that plays a really big role. They wanted to give our team all the support that they could, and they definitely did that. Michigan struggled early, and the crowd, even when we needed, maybe Michigan went on some small run, I think, and the crowd was getting into it. We scored. And then it was nice to see Liv on the mic after the game, thanking the fans, because they really, they do love our team, and they do a really good job of creating an atmosphere, not only where our team feels loved and supported, but the other team is kind of like, wow, this might be a little nerve-wracking, and it brings a lot of pressure in playing in front of a crowd like that.
Yeah, and you mentioned a little run that Michigan went on. So Notre Dame entered the second quarter up 20. Michigan had cut it to, it was 12, kind of halfway through. And it's like, it's a run, right? You've made up 8 points there. You've almost cut it in half, and if their goal is probably to get to halftime in single digits, and Notre Dame, at that point, 34-22 halfway through, and then they ended up only losing the quarter by 2, going in 46-28. So kind of stemmed the tide there, and then they won the third quarter, and the game was essentially over at that point. You mentioned the crowd, and this is kind of something I've wanted to ask you, because I don't have a sense for it. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame's head coach, is Notre Dame's head football coach. People may have heard of him. He's pretty present at these games, and he has been for a long time. I just wonder, I don't remember Brian Kelly being a fixture at Notre Dame's women's basketball games in the past. Maybe he was, and it just wasn't a big deal, but just kind of curious, is that meaningful to the women and the ladies, and just kind of having his presence there? Like how much meaning does that kind of carry for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Coach Free is just like the epitome of Notre Dame. He represents the university so well. Everybody loves him. And I think they love him. Like it goes way beyond the football coach that he is. And it's just the impact that he has. He has a relationship with us, essentially. I know personally when I got hurt, he checked in on me all the time. And it was like, it just brings so much meaning, because he's so involved in the community, just for like the high profile person he is. Obviously he's the head football coach at Notre Dame, and like you would never guess that. No. Because I said earlier, it goes way past, the football field and what he does, but having those kind of people sitting on the court, it doesn't bring pressure. It almost brings a sense of like the people around you who are supporting you understand. And it was really cool to see him on Sports Center with Elle Duncan and her crew, and Andrea Carter. It was, and he did like a little, he picked his winner.
Yeah, the game picks. Yeah.
He did a game pick, but he actually analyzed it. He wasn't just like, I'm going with Notre Dame. Like he's really in tune, and it's not just with us. He's in tune with all the other sports around Notre Dame, and it's just such a cool thing, because you don't really see that a lot at other schools. He's in attendance to so many of the games, especially postseason. And I think that he just represents Notre Dame so well, and it gives us just another sense of support from somebody that truly understands, what it's like, the highs, the lows, the ups, downs of a program, competing at the highest level. So he's such a cool person, and that goes, beyond him and all the other head coaches and support that we get at Notre Dame. It's truly a special community that you don't really understand until you're in it and a part of it.
Yeah, I think it kind of adds, and I think that Marcus Freeman and Niel, like they're both, I don't know exactly how old Niel is, but like they're around the same age, and I think there's the fact that they're both kind of kind of younger, and like he brings his kids too. Like I just think it's cool, right? Like it's not often you get someone of his stature that has young children like that. And so for him to be there with his children, and obviously his wife attends a bunch of games as well.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I just think that it's enough to where or he's there enough to where it's like definitely a genuine thing. Like he obviously clearly enjoys it, you know. And look, he's going to
Right.
hockey games. He's going to obviously goes to men's basketball games too. But it's just I don't know. I just feel like it adds, right? Like I think we kind of forget sometimes because it's so branded. Like you all seem so professionals, you know, like such like professionals. But like it is a college. It is a college campus, and like this sort of thing like really helps with like the community of the University of Notre
Totally.
Dame, you know. So I thought that was
Yeah.
I was just interested to talk to you about that because I wondered
Yeah.
what kind of impact that.
No, it's cool. And I
Yeah,
think it's good to mention because like sometimes it's like it's such a big deal when, there's a head football coach or if it's a sport that's, dominates a university.
yeah,
When a head coach attends another sports function or game, it's this big thing. And it's like, oh, head coach of so and so was seen at a women's soccer game.
yeah,
It's just become a norm. He's there all the time.
yeah,
I know now like some games ESPN will flash him and then sometimes they don't because it's just normal because he's always there. So it's cool. It's not just like it doesn't feel like someone of high profile has to go and show face today. Like
yeah.
never once. It doesn't feel like that.
Talk about the guard play a little bit from
Mm-hmm.
Hannah, Olivia, and then Sony, just in like how that has kind of fueled. I feel like that's really fueled Notre Dame in the first and second round there. And it just seems like when they're on, that they just really can't. I don't want to say they can't be beat because I think you're getting to teams, TCU and Texas here, where it's like, you got to play well sustained period of time, right?
Right.
Like it's not just you can just roll out there and that Notre Dame's going to dominate. But against teams like that, against teams like Stephen F. Austin and Michigan who don't have that same quality, like you're going to win if those three are playing well. Just kind of talk about what you've seen from them and kind of like the bounce back that you saw from, the end of the regular season in the ACC tournament.
Yeah. I think they really came together well. And our offense goes as they go,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, especially with the 2 point guards. But I also know that Liv went down with the ankle and
Yeah.
then everybody stepped up. And I think Hannah did a really good job of still keeping people involved. And I think that the three of them are very unique because none of them do the same thing. So Liv is the best passer I've ever seen, men or women. She brings this ability to make others around her better,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think ever seen somebody be able to pass like that before.
Yeah.
So, and she does so many other things, but like that's one thing that that she's the best at. Hannah, a dog, both ends of the floor, always making things happen, playing full speed, hounding people on defense. And then Sonia, who's just a weapon in multiple areas. You can throw her inside, you can throw her outside, she can shoot it, she can handle it, and she can go guard the best player. So I think that when those three are on, they create so much. And guards like that are hard to come by. They're producing all the time. Even when they don't have the ball, you have to draw towards them. So they just affect the game so much. And when the three of them are playing well, like you said, yeah, they're really hard to stop. And we can get into the post players because I do think that Liatu King deserves her flowers for sure.
Let's divvy those out right now.
Yeah. So I think she just fits the system so well. And that's huge in a transfer coming to a team that has so many dominant scorers. And again, you can throw her inside and out, but I just like when I watch her rebound the ball, it's like, oh my God, like she just soars and she just has such a good feel for where the ball is going to go. She rebounds with her feet. She's there early and she just makes so much happen. She's reliable. She can pick and pop. She can roll.
Yeah.
And now she's always ready. She's always ready to get the ball. She's in the right positions and she produces a lot. But I think it goes for the rest of the post players. I know Maddie came back, kind of, up and down with the flow of the game, but she's Maddie. And I think that TCU specifically, she'll have an advantage. I'm confident Maddie will have a big day on Saturday because I don't think that their bigs can guard her, especially at the free throw line or if you put her on the 3-point line. I think Maddie has a really big advantage. Same with Liatu. I would imagine that they just put like a big guard on Liatu. But I think that Maddie will have a big opportunity for scoring on Saturday.
Yeah. So let's talk about TCU real quick. So in the first matchup, Maddie Westfeld was not available. Liza Carlin was not available, right? Big minute. Like Cass is playing. So Cass was playing mostly inside in that game because of those injuries. Tough game for Kate. She was 0 for 9 in that game. In Liatu even, 2 of 9. But you don't have those players next to you, right? Like, so you don't have Maddie there and you don't have Liza there who can come in and play. And look, these are obviously very good players. Conversely, Sedona Prince, she had a very big game, 9 of 17 shooting, 20 points, 20 rebounds, 8 blocks for her in that game, right? So she was dominant and a major part of why TCU won that game. Why is the addition of Maddie so important in this one? And then Liza also coming off the bench. Like, why is that?
Right.
Why could that make such a big difference for Notre Dame?
I think that that just wasn't Kate's day. And that's also a really big stage for a freshman early on in the season. So I think that Kate is a different player than she was then. But having Maddie is a defender that's probably more aware and just like up to speed with the game. Because I did think watching that game that it was a little too fast for Kate. But again, she is better now. But I think that Maddie is just aware, and Maddie is really good with personnel. Like, she knows, okay, I can do this against this player. I can't do it against that player. And that just like comes with this experience. And same with Liza too. So I also think that in that game, Sedona Prince was also like, she had 8 blocks. She wasn't really challenged defensively. Right. And I think that on Saturday, she's going to be challenged defensively in the way that she wasn't in the first matchup with Maddie back.
Are you concerned about the size? Sedona Prince 6'7", Maddie's 6'3", Liza's 6'2". Does that concern you, the height?
No, because at the end of the day, she's a good player, and they usually say like good players will get theirs when they're really good players. Same with Hailey Van Lith. Hailey Van Lith is going to get hers no matter the outcome of the game because she's just really good. But I think that they shoot the 3 really well, and that leaves Sedona in a lot of one-on-one situations. And then like more of those matchups will be against Maddie, who's more experienced than Kate. And although it's a size advantage, I think that Maddie can play personnel a little bit better. Same with Liza, just with her experience, and then make up for it on the offensive end, and punish that matchup by bringing her out of the paint a little bit.
Yeah. Do you like? Well, I guess I'll just ask you outright instead of asking it this way. But how do you think, or I don't know, how, in your opinion, how should Notre Dame handle Hailey Van Lith in this game from a defensive point of view?
I think that they should play her straight up, and they have to play really good one-on-one defense with her, because when I watched her...
Who do you like being the matchup on that?
I like Hannah on that. Just because Hannah's like... Hailey's a quick, crafty guard. She has a lot of things in her bag. She's good. She's experienced. She's strong. She's very competitive. So it's not like she's going to shy away from, defensive pressure. Like she played for Louisville and LSU.
Right.
I like Hannah on her. I like straight up defense. And when I watched her on Saturday, I mean, they hit a ton of threes. I don't know if you have their stats up, but they definitely have very high percentage 3-point shooters. And my guess is that they make close to double digits in threes a game, if I'm not wrong.
In that game, they were 11 of 18 from 3.
Right.
Funny enough, Van Lith was 0 for 1 but Donovan Hunter 4 for 4, Madison Connor 3 for 5, Agnes Emma, I don't know how to say her last name, Emma Nopu. She was 4 for 7.
Right, and Haley Van Lith assisted a lot of those.
Yeah,
and
so she had 10. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I saw her. She does a really good job of driving and kicking and finding her teammates. So that means that there's going to have to be really good one-on-one defense against her, so that they don't have to help much, and make them take contested shots and not just bang open threes. Like, I mean, watching that last week was like, oh my gosh, is someone like, what's going to happen? When are you going to stop helping?
Right. Yeah, they're shooting 38% from 3 for the season. So
that's really good.
It's a major part of that. I wonder, and the reason I asked about who you would guard her with is I wonder if they would put Sony on her too, just because of that size, because I feel like she herself wants to get in the paint. And
she does. I would agree.
On that front, I kind of like the idea of putting that size of Sony on her, right? Just because Hannah too, like, she likes to take chances, and if you're not cashing in, like, she's kind of a high risk player defensively, and if you're not cashing in, then she's Van List getting into the paint, and then Notre Dame is having to help, and then we're dishing the ball, and then they're finding an open player for 3. Like,
I agree.
So
I agree. Yeah.
What do you think about something like that?
Maybe they'll go, and also, like, Sonia has experience on her. Right. I think, again, we would have to look at the game, but I think that Hannah did guard her last time. I don't know that, because those other guards are not teeny tiny guards. Like,
right.
Madison Connor.
No, they're 6 foot 5'11".
Right. Madison Connor probably wouldn't post up, but definitely the other two.
Yeah. And Agnes and Emma Nobu, she's 5'11" as well. So they got good size.
Maybe. Yeah. So maybe they do that. I mean, that's always an adjustment too, if they start to post Hannah up. But yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting to see, like, they played in the Cayman Islands, which is an early, was it Christmas or Thanksgiving? Early holiday.
It was Thanksgiving.
Tournament.
Yeah, it was November 29th. Yeah.
And now you see that team that you never see. I don't know when the last time we played TCU was before the Cayman Islands. And now you see them in March. It's really interesting. Like, I'm curious to see what we'll do, and I'm also curious to see what TCU will do, because they won. So I don't know.
I think there's such enough time in between the two games that, like, both teams are different.
Right.
Like, both teams have adjusted, and look, it was not a fluke, right? Like, they're 33-3. Like, I haven't looked at their, like, strength of schedule or anything like that, but, like, in women's basketball, like, 33-3 is, I mean, that's legit, no matter who you're playing, right. And they do have that Van Lith, that kind of that leadership, and I think that got lost for her a little bit at LSU, where she just didn't, I don't think she really felt comfortable with her fit there. Like, where do I kind of fit in with this team? And I think that's there with TCU. And I think she's kind of what she was before, and
me too. Agreed.
And so I just think it's, a little bit more dangerous. Who's kind of who's the X factor for you in this game, in this Sweet 16 game?
That's a good question. I think that because I think Madison Connor is the X factor for TCU, because if she comes out and bangs threes, that's an issue. Because we know Haley's going to get hers, and we know Sedona Prince will most likely get hers too. I think for us, I'm going with Maddie, because I think that it's a big opportunity for her, and she could have a mismatch no matter where she is on the floor. And I think that even if, say, one of our guards, like, has an off night, I think that because there's so many guards, like, it can kind of be covered up in some way, even if it's just the smallest thing as an off shooting night. But I think that I would just really like to see Maddie come alive. Her senior year in March, especially for this game where I think she'll have an advantage.
Yeah, and she probably, she's probably. I mean, obviously she's motivated. You're playing this Sweet 16, but also like she didn't play in the game against them. I don't want to say she has something to prove, but it's like, you kind of want to be, like you said, like she's an X factor, right? Like you want to be that because you didn't play the first time, and that she probably feels, some kind of way about that.
Right. Yeah. And that's something that TCU hasn't seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me is I always just kind of, I gravitate towards Sony for this because I think she's just that one, one too many problems. If she's playing well, it's just, because look, their game plan has to be so revolved around Hannah and keeping her out of the paint. Same thing for Olivia, like just trying to keep those two out of the paint and playmaking, trying to keep them on the perimeter. If Sonia is going to be aggressive and if she's hitting, like you said, she's hitting step back threes and things of that nature, it's just kind of one of those deals where it's just like, all right, well, I guess we're going to lose, like it just, it's a problem you really can't solve because to solve a problem like that. And the other part too, is like, it's for the other players. She has size because she's big. It's just like, you have to throw numbers at her. And if you're throwing numbers at Sonia Citron, it just, then you're taking someone away from all the other players. What?
No, you're right. Sonia Citron, yes, Greg's X factor. I do believe so, and I think it goes with like the pick your poison kind of thing because anyone's game plan is gonna try to keep those two out of the paint.
Yeah.
But and Sonia Citron, come on, she's my favorite player ever.
Oh, so that's why you're laughing? Because I said Sony, and it's just like,
No, I genuinely had not a single clue what we were laughing at.
Okay, I don't know either. That's fine. Maybe I'm even keeping it.
You should. I know. I was gonna say you shouldn't cut that. It's great content.
I did lose my train of thought, but I think Sony and Maddie. Here's the other part too. Like we talked a lot about, the leadership piece, and I feel like those two are major parts of that. And I think if it's, if you get past TCU, most likely you'll have Texas at that point. It's a rematch game, and we'll get into that. That's a game where it's like, hey, you got to play well. It's going to be Notre Dame beat them at home in overtime, right? It's not like they walked over them. It's going to be a tough game, and you're going to get it.
Right.
And to be honest with you, like having these conversations about women's basketball, I used to, like when I was growing up, younger Greg, it was like watching the women's tournament was just kind of pointless because it's like, I know who's going to win already. Like I just know like the one seeds are going to walk through this whole tournament. And that's how it was. Like Tennessee and UConn, they're just going to destroy teams. And every now and then Notre Dame would be a 1-2 and they would destroy teams. Now I feel like Notre Dame could play well and lose. And that's true of TCU and that's true of Texas. Right. And I don't think they will because I do think there's a talent thing with Notre Dame where it's like, look, at some point, if they are on, they are very hard to beat, and that's why I compared them to like the Ohio State of the women's basketball game and Ohio State football, because it's like in Ohio State this year, it was like, look, if they have so much talent, if they're playing well, there are so many problems that you have to solve. And I think that's true of Notre Dame women's basketball, but just the fact of the matter is that I think the women's game is so much deeper now than it used to be. And I don't want to say parity because I guess it is parity, but it's just like, there's so many good basketball teams now. And I think that's very cool. It's a very cool time to be, kind of following it and everything. And look, it's not just us, right? It's blowing up, right? Like it's cool around the sport. Do you have any thoughts, just like bigger thoughts on the tournament at large, just like how the tournament's been going? And obviously Juju Watkins like blows out her knee. That's awful. Like that, you hate, like truly you hate to see that. Like when it happened too, it was just pretty clear. Like the knee gives way, and it's just like, you don't want to see it, and that's tough. But beyond that, right? Like, I mean, obviously, I don't want to go in. I mean, we're not like savvy basketball analysts to say that it's a big deal for USC.
Yes. We are savvy basketball.
We are that, but it doesn't take that, is what I'm trying to say. But what do you think about the tournament, and how it's been going and who looks good so far?
I thought it was really cool to see some of the teams that have never been in it. There was a lot of like first appearances since this year, which is really cool. I know one of my good friends, Aaron Dickerson at William and Mary, first time NCAA tournament. And it was nice to see those teams experience that, and see people's hard work paying off, which is really cool. I had a lot of friends a part of those coaching staffs, which was really nice. Secondly, great basketball. Like that Alabama Maryland game was one of the best basketball games I've ever seen, ever. It was so back and forth. There was broken records, double overtime. And it's not like we talk about like women's sports, like that's just great basketball, period.
Yeah,
and it's just even better to see the women doing it. But yeah, and then we talk about like potential matchups regarding, the tournament as a whole. I think that Texas-Tennessee matchup is really interesting, very interesting. If you ask me right now, and I don't know who I was talking about it to today, someone in America at some ass crack hour that I was on the phone. Tennessee wants to make you go like this and pressure defensively and then slow you down in the half court.
Yeah.
And then, Texas, excuse me. And then Tennessee is so offensive minded. They love every shot. They like to take a lot of threes. They like to take quick shots, push and transition. So like, I don't really know. Like, I know people might go with the higher seed and pick Texas, but I don't know. Like, I think that's pretty even. And I don't have a winner for that one yet picked. So that'd be interesting.
We're monitoring the Texas-Tennessee situation. I mean, it would definitely be interesting, right? And they play after Notre Dame. So Notre Dame plays 1 Eastern time. ABC, ESPN, ESPN Plus, all those channels, wherever you want to watch it.
Right.
And that's when they play. And then Tennessee, Texas is scheduled for 3:30, but it just depends on when the first game ends. So we're gonna be watching that. We're gonna be talking about that. Hopefully Notre Dame can get the nice victory, and then we'll have a Elite Eight game to talk about as well. So we can end it there. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. If you like what you heard, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. So whatever it is, we are going live or releasing a video. That'll do it. Enjoy the game, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, Dara, what are we going to do?
Get buckets.